Franklin, and welcome everyone to Coffee and Cream Queens of Conversation. It's been a while. Have you guys missed us? Oh, we missed you. I'm here in upstate New York visiting family and friends, and they won't let me leave. They're holding me captive, so someone please come save me. But today we have a few important pillars of our community here in the Utica, New York area, Mr. Patrick Johnson and Mr. Craig Grant. And they are planning an event upcoming in Utica, New York on July 25th. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. I'm Alberta and I'm Coffee.
I'm Tiffany Davis. I'm Cream.
And together we are Queens of Conversations. Welcome, Mr. Graham. Welcome, Mr. Johnson. How are you?
Good, and you? Thank you.
I'm very good, ladies.
Great.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the show and the service that you're doing for the community and for the nation.
Amen.
For the nation. Thank you.
International.
Right. So we are in very perilous times in this country, and I've been having various conversations with people that live everywhere, and the common conversation is coming out. What are we doing? The most famous phrase that I don't like, but I hear all the time. How can Black Lives matter to us? How could Black Lives matter if they don't matter to us? And I often that term bothers me, because Black lives do matter to me, and I feel like the Black Lives Matter movement and crime in our community are two different fights, although they both need as much as attention as they both are getting, but there's two different fights. Can you tell me, Patrick, what do you feel about that? I know you're the CEO of Rebuilding the Village. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. First of all, I think we're on the same page, Berta. You know, the slogan, the origins of Black Lives Matter, I'm very clear about the purpose of the founders who made that, because, and I say this respectfully, but ever since Black people were brought to this country, we have not been assigned the same value as other people, particularly our white counterparts. However, and I'm going to fast forward, and with respect to Roosevelt Patterson, who's not here, which we will talk about the event that he suggested that we have here in Utica. I understand that we as Black people, we need to also turn that question around to us. And I'm going to say here in the city of Utica, but also across the nation. And we as Black people need to also ask, what does Black Lives Matter mean to us? How should we be having a conversation about how we treat each other, how we respect each other? And it can be very difficult. I think on the face of it, many people would say, yeah, we do respect one another. But one of the things that we'll be talking about, and I'm glad that Roosevelt has joined us, is here in the city of Utica and around the nation, when we look in the inner city and when we look at gun violence, often the perpetrator and the victim is young, Black, and male. And so just in terms of how we value each other, it's a necessary conversation that we need to have. So I know that we have other people that want to contribute, including Roosevelt. I hope we have sound now for the brother and Craig. But I hope I made myself clear, Berta and Tiffany, to your listening audience.
Thank you. Mr. Grant, what do you think about the Black Lives Matter movement and the focus that we need to have on crime in our community?
Well, certainly the Black Lives Matter movement is worldwide now, and that's a bigger conversation. We certainly, as Black people, need to be part of that conversation. But there's an old saying that charity begins at home, then spread abroad. and we have a conversation here in this community that lends to that bigger conversation. If Black Lives Matter, then why, are we having the chaos that we're having? And this is a smaller community, whereas so many people are related by blood, marriage, or some other type of kinship. We should be able to have a better handle on that, or we need to get to that conversation. But again, we are part of both conversations, and it is very important. And as I am getting a little bit more seasoned and have been on the planet for just about 6 decades, the longer you've been Black, the longer you realize, this whole issue of racism and what have you. So yes, there are two conversations. We need to be part of both. Did I make any sense?
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
you did. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Johnson, can you tell us about rebuilding the village?
Yes. Rebuilding the Village is a fairly new 501c3 not-for-profit that we started here in the city of Utica. And Tiffany and Berta, for the two of you and for the listening audience, the major focus of Rebuilding the Village is to target the needs of the inner city of Utica, people in poverty, and people from all backgrounds. But respectfully, it does target individuals and families who have had a harder way to go in this community. So we do put a special focus on the African American community, but anybody is welcome to receive the services that we give. So Rebuilding the Village, the ultimate goal, and I want people to hear this and not misunderstand me. One day we would like to see an African American cultural community center in the city of Utica that provides the services and the needs of all people. But until that gets done, because that's going to take some years, we need to do the work on the ground of addressing education, poverty, racism, gun violence, and just helping people to understand that we can still dream regardless of what your situation is. So Rebuilding the Village is an outgrowth, if you will, of Hoops and Dreams and other community initiatives that we've had in this city. But for the first time, with all the work that I and others have been able to do, we have finally created a 501c not-for-profit, which is essential. Our board president is not here, Mrs. Freddie Hamilton, but Craig Grant is a part of the Rebuilding the Village, Roosevelt Patterson, and other people as well. But I would want people to know it's just how it sounds. We need to rebuild the inner city of Utica. For those of us that were born and raised here, or if you've been here for any length of time, I mean, we've always had challenges. But if I could do a real quick roll call of the families who remember what it was like, many of us, our grandparents and great-grandparents came here on the bean truck from Alabama, Georgia, and Florida in the 40s. They lived in Washington Courts and Gold Bass. And strangely enough, there was more unity in those people, amongst those families. So fast forward, it seems that something has happened, something peculiar has happened in the Black community, and we need to be about our business. So that's what I'm saying when we say, what does Black Lives Matter mean to Black people? We need to look at that, because in some ways that unity that we used to see 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago is missing. I know I was a little long-winded, but I have a lot of passion about fixing the community. And I know it's going to take all of us. All of us have to be soldiers in this battle.
Right. And so I hear you keep mentioning families. The Black families matter. How can we get that family unit back involved into the community? I mean, we have people here and there, But even when I was growing up, there were key families that you knew who to go to for certain things. How can we, what should our first step be in reuniting that sense of Black families and bringing that unity back into the community?
That is a real good question, Berta. And Berta, we rolling today. We in rhythm today. You know, and let me say this with respect to, because there's no one answer to your question, Berta. And that's the question that everybody is asking, not only in the city of Utica, but I think across all communities across the nation, especially in Black communities. Something has happened in the last 30 years. Let me speak to that in the city of Utica, but I'm going to preface by saying, I know that my answer is only one answer, and there are multiple solutions in terms of how we get that unity back in the community. So to your point, there used to be that sense of unity, and it's missing. And so what we have to start doing, just like we're asking our white brothers and sisters to engage in conversation about racism, we as Black and brown people need to have that honest, sometimes hard conversation about what stands between us as Black people. And I'm not saying that talk will answer it all, but before you can find a solution, you have to set some ground rules. I may not like what you have to say about me, but I have to at least be willing to have a listening spirit to hear what your criticisms are, your critiques, if you got any good things to say. And so as Black people, we have to learn how to talk to each other respectfully. That element of respect that we know that we had to be accountable for 40, 50, 60 years ago, it is missing. So we have to have roundtable conversations, put 30 people in the room, young people, middle-aged and older people, and we have to go back to some old-fashioned values. And we have to learn to value and respect each other, even if we have differences of opinion.
Right, right. What are your thoughts, Mr. Grant?
Well, we have to practice what we preach. So if we're putting our Christian hats on, let's do the Christian thing. If we think that Black people, we think that our community is important, we have to look at other communities. If you look at the Native Americans, they plan for 7 generations ahead. So people that they may never see, they plan for them because they're important. Now, that used to be our preface. That used to be what was important to us in Black communities, because that slave that lies in an unmarked grave knew that at the end of the day, that they still had some slaving to do, but they were in hopes that you and I wouldn't have to do what they did. And that has come true for somewhat. But now we need to honor their dreams, their hopes, their aspirations. So we need to take the lead, and we're behind the 8 ball. So we don't have a lot of time to do this, that, and the other. We have to do, we have to take the expedited course and get busy in our communities.
Right. But when we say get busy in our community, right? And Kareem and I was having this conversation the other day. And we give events and we participate and we have programs, but sometimes feel that the people that actually need to get the information are not the ones that's attending or absorbing the information. And I got a comment from one of our audience members, and they says, grassroots, we need to get out there in the neighborhood where we want to make an impact. Food always brings people together.
That's very true. I agree.
And then another person said the music has changed. And music has always been, there's certain songs that we can play and we all get in the middle of the street and do the electric slide or do something else. But my concern is the ones that need to get the information, the ones that we want to reach are the most difficult to reach.
Yes.
Mhm.
So how can we and how can we strategize a little bit more on reaching those individuals?
We have to use all the tools that we have available.
Right.
We can't be, everybody isn't on Facebook or social media. Everybody, so every which way we can. It used to be word of mouth was the best advertising. So in our churches, wherever we congregate or what have you, whoever's getting the information out, all hands on deck. And we do the best we can.
Right. Right.
You know, Berta, you're asking.
Sense.
You're right, Craig, and Berta, you're asking the right questions, which also it's, as can I be honest? And I know that you're going to say yes. It seems that for yeah, one of the challenges that we've had in the city of Utica, even with the best intentions, sometimes the people that you want to be at the party are not there. So yeah, you do have to come with all the bells and the whistles. So on Saturday, July 25th, God willing, weather permitting, we're going to be doing an event in Kimball Park, right off of James Street. No basketball, but we're going to have guys like Mr. Pete and some of the city's best entertainers, positive rap artists, DJ Mark Brooks. We're going to have some music, some entertainment, and some food. You folks said that you like food. Well, food is going to be there. Roosevelt, this is an idea of Roosevelt Patterson, but we want people to come out, have fun, positive activity, but we're also going to form a big circle, and we want people to contribute to the conversation. What is it that you want to see to make the city of Utica safer? Now, before I say a little bit more, and then I'm going to pass the baton, I want to give Berta, you said you remember when you lived in Utica, there were people that you could go to. Utica and all of our flaws, and I still believe that this is a good city, and I've lived in different places, but Utica is home to me. And I know that one thing about the city of Utica and the African-American community, just like other communities, but we got those families where if you say their name, everybody would say, yeah, I know them. So I just want to do a quick shout out to people like the Garretts, the Blackshears, the Billings, the Davises, the Pierces, the Brooks, the Browns. And then, we had our families from New York City come up here who are now a part of our community. There are so many families that have contributed to the well-being of the city of Utica. The Bowens, we got the people that go to church, but then we have the people who don't go nowhere near the church, but still give to this community. And I know that sometimes when people don't feel like they are valued, they will hang out on the sidelines. But this event that we're doing on Saturday, July 25th, from 12 to 6, I want the people. This is, first of all, an invitation through the Queens of Conversation social media. But we're going to be out there on the street giving out the flyers saying, brothers and sisters, you need to be there. And we want to hear your voice. We want to hear your issues. And we want to know what is it that we need to do to make this community safer. Because we know how to pack the church at the funeral, right? Pardon my French, but I've seen far too many funerals of our young Black men dying prematurely. So I'm being very intentional about this event and any other events that we have to make this community safer, bring a better quality of life. And, the key is to inviting people to dream. I don't care how old you are, 20, 30, 40, 50, 67, as long as we have breath and life, we need to dream about the next day and having our goals. And when that candle goes out, figuratively speaking, you start dying a slow death. So we got to pump each other up. We all need to be encouraged. If you don't go to church, be around positive people, because life is going to definitely dupe you to take the air out of you. And we're going to need to be refueled. If you don't pray, do something else that feeds your soul. So at that event, we're asking people to come out. It's just an old-fashioned get-together in the community. Hot dogs, hamburgers, music, some games, but the main thing is we need to get together in that circle and say, this is what I want to see going forward. And I'm going to say this and I'll pass the baton. Just because we do that, that's not going to end all the problems. But everybody needs to get involved. And so I'm putting it out there now to say everybody's welcome.
Thank you. So the goal is, the campaign is stop the violence. We want to reduce gun violence, of course, in our communities by any means necessary. And there was a comment in our, by one of our audience members, and they said, those suggestions only bring law-abiding citizens together, not criminals. Should our focus be on the criminals, or should our main focus be on the law-abiding citizens to become united so we can then bring in the people that need to bring in?
I'll pass the baton to my brother Craig or one of you ladies.
Yes. Everybody needs to be included. You know, I understand. I believe I understood that suggestion, but if we're all law-abiding citizens, so-called or whatever, we definitely have criminals or in our families, people that have committed crime or whatever. So none of us are immune from that or that particular suggestion. But I think everybody needs to be involved.
I agree. I think like you said earlier, all hands on deck. We need all hands on deck. I think that once we strategize and get focused amongst ourselves, I guess the law-abiding citizens ones, because there's criminals in our families, some families, you know, and then maybe other ideas from other resources can come about, and we can reach the ones that need to be reached. So let me refocus the conversation, because the conversation is about the July 25th event that's being held from 12 to 6 at Kimball Park in Utica, New York. And my first question was, who does it benefit? I know you kind of went over this a little bit, but I'm just going to reiterate the question. Who does the event benefit?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to say this respectfully in the absence of Roosevelt Patterson, because it was his idea, but the benefit is for the whole community. There's no monetary benefit, but the benefit is to bring safety where violence is most prevalent. That is Cornhill, West Utica, and East Utica. You know, every blue moon, Berta, you heard about something that happens in North Utica and South Utica. But let's face it, gun violence in the city of Utica, it's prone to happen in certain places. The research says if you are going to end gun violence in Black and brown communities, it's not going to be the police. For sure, they help, but you know who's going to help end it? It's the community. It's the law-abiding citizens. We have to change the culture. And I understand that question before. It's like sometimes the people you want to show up don't. So you have to season it with what is it that they like. And still, everybody that you want to be there will not be there. But to answer that question, everybody benefits, even if you're not really sure what to do. Show up, support, and just simply say you care. I don't have the full answer. I've knocked on the doors of some of the brothers who are definitely involved in the game, and I always try to approach them respectfully. But it's going to be the community who changes the culture of what it appears. Many people say, well, you folks just accept it. And I'm saying wrong answer. We don't. We just don't know what to do. So the community has to come together and figure it out.
So how do we have this event in the time of COVID-19 and social distancing? What are your suggestions as some of the people, and one of the audience members said, don't forget to social distance and make sure people are wearing masks and social distancing. So Will masks be
Right.
provided? Should they bring their own masks? How's the era of COVID-19 in this event being
Great
handled?
question. So safety is number one. It will be mandatory that people bring masks. If they don't have one, we will provide one for you. We will also have hand sanitizers there. And if they have it, for the people that live in the city of Utica, or if you plan on traveling or whatever, there's a huge, big field. So there's plenty of room to practice the physical distancing. So it's the basics. It's those things that the CDC government suggests that this is what you can do to lessen the risk of catching the virus. So we will be practicing all that. This will not be a willy-nilly event. We're going to have good music out there, but we need to be mindful that we are in a pandemic.
So will there be any food being sold or provided for individuals?
Yes. So from 12 to 3, it's free. Hot dogs and hamburgers. There will be a few vendors out there. I'm told that D. Hayes restaurant will be out there, and there will be another vendor out there from 3 to 6. So we're gonna at that point, after 3 o'clock, the food will not be for free. But I'm asking the people also, if you can't get there from 12 to 3, you definitely want to be there at 3 o'clock, because we're gonna have the hot entertainment. Mr. Pete will be out there with some of the people that he's working with, some of the entertainers. I'm currently working on a couple of girls' dance groups to also showcase good, clean dancing. So if anybody's interested, please give me a call, but we already are doing outreach, and so we expect to have that there as well. So 3 o'clock, the entertainment starts. So from 3 to 4 will be entertainment. Somewhere around 4:30, we expect to have that community-wide big circle conversation, literally in a circle on that day, and having a number of people speak on the microphone about what they want to see for a safer city of Utica.
Right. Now, I understand that one of the things that Roosevelt wanted to push was he wanted to do a memorial of our lost loved ones due to gun violence. And I know that he had provided some type of platform for people to send in pictures or the names of who they want to be memorialized. Do you, how do they submit that information and where?
Very good. So Roosevelt has given me permission to send that information to his cell phone. Is area code 315-982-7257. And of course, in this venue, I'm giving that information because he's given us permission to do that. He would like the photos and the names to come directly from family members being parents, brothers, sisters, siblings, people like that that were directly related to the victim. So yeah, he wants to do a memorial, and that's going to be a special event. We also, I think, have one or two other good, positive surprises, everything going well, that we want to highlight that day. I also want to take this time to salute the Utica Police Department's latest new hire, which in this community, I know a lot of people know, Wesley Jackson. And that's vital for our community because many police departments, yes, Tiffany, I'm with you. Many police departments, the demographics are white males. And I know that the city of Utica has been working on diversifying their police department. And, you know, I am symbolically saluting Wesley Jackson because he's taken a position that we need, but it's not easy and it's not popular to want to be a police officer anywhere in this country. But Wesley comes from a family that's well known. He has street credibility and community-wide credibility. He's the last I checked, he was coach for the Proctor basketball team. And so he's going to be a welcome addition to this community. I salute him, the mayor and the police chief, for hiring him. And he's going to be, the biggest thing is he's going to be a role model for other people who may otherwise have not thought about that career. So he's going to touch some lives. That's an impact.
That's awesome. I did read that article and I see that. So congratulations, Wesley Jackson and Jackson family. That is a very great accomplishment for our community and the Utica, New York area. Okay, so we got Saturday, July 25th from 12 to 6 at Kimball Park.
Right.
There'll be free food from 12 to 3. And then there'll be vendors from 3 to 6 thereafter. And around 4:30, there'll be a community conversation about strategizing and how we can end violence in our community.
Absolutely.
Right? And then also, we will have a memorial of the ones that was lost due to gun violence in our community. We're asking everyone to send their information to 315-982-7257 with the photos and the names, preferably from a family member of the victim.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you would like for the people to know regarding this event? How could one donate if they wanted to donate?
Yep. So for people that are interested in making a contribution, they can send it to Rebuilding the Village in care of Lillian Woods. That's spelled LILLIANDOODS. Lillian Woods. 516 Rockhaven Road, Utica, New York, 13502. Donations are needed and welcome. You know, and I say that because the work will be ongoing. The work of all the things that need to be done in the inner city of Utica is going to be a journey. And it's not going to be easy. We're going to need prayers, but we're going to need people who are interested and eager to see this city change for the better. And we all have gifts.
Can you give me the address one more time for Lillian Woods?
Sure.
I wasn't typing fast enough.
So it's Rebuilding the Village in care of Lillian Woods. She's our treasurer. And that's spelled LILLIANWOODS, 516 Rockhaven Road, ROCKHAVEN Road, Utica, New York.
Is that Utica?
13502. Did I go slow enough?
Yeah, I got it.
Good.
Okay. And what if someone wanted to be a part of this event? Who do they need to contact?
So I want to also give my contact information. If anybody has any ideas, if they want to read poetry or something like that, please feel free to have them call me. If they want to know more details, Patrick Johnson, area code 315-601-6002.
All right. Okay. Is there any closing thoughts you want us to that we should know regarding this event?
I'm gonna pass it on to Brother Craig, and then I'll add something. But I've been talking for a while. I'm mindful of that. So I'm gonna give my brother some space.
Just thanks for the opportunity, getting the information out. I believe that information and education, which are synonymous, are very important. And the better educated we are, the better we are as advocates, for ourselves, for our community, and what have you. Again, thank you so much. I think, is Roosevelt available at all? Because he would have, if any closing thoughts or whatever. I think he would have a little bit more information, because this is sort of his baby, so to speak.
Yeah, I think.
No. Well, they have the phone number for Roosevelt, so this is his number. If anyone has any comments, questions, or concerns, they can contact at 315-982-7257, as well as send the photos and the names of your loved ones that you would like memorialized for the July 25th event.
Tiffany and Berta, before I forget, before I make just a couple of comments, food for thought, I again sincerely want to thank the both of you for the community service that you're providing for this community and the nation and international. International queens, indeed. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And I really want to salute my brother. Yes, I really want to salute my brother Roosevelt. Quiet as it's kept, you know, Roosevelt is on the streets doing a lot of work. That brother is really connected to people, and he is sincere about ending gun violence in this community. So, as Craig said, this is his idea. But in closing, I just simply want to say to people that we know that this battle is difficult. It's complex. Whether we're talking about Black Lives Matter, gun violence, racism. And I just want to encourage people, let's be part of the solution, even if you don't have a clear answer. You know, that Bible scripture says, without a vision, the people perish. And I'm not a Bible scholar by far, but I understand the importance of vision, dreaming. And then if you want to move the mountain, you got to bring a shovel. So it's a faith walk. And I'm clear that if I die tomorrow, I know that one thing I've learned in this life, there will be struggles, there will be battles. But if you dream and you do put a little bit of work behind it, you'll be surprised not only what you can do for yourself, but what you can do for your neighborhood, your block, your family, and your community. So I want to reiterate, this is a community-wide event. There's no one person or no one organization that can claim that they have all the answers. It truly is everybody working together, and I know that's easier said than done. So if we get a little conflict, take a deep breath, say a prayer, and come back to the table the next day, but come with the right attitude. And I say that respectfully, but I'm clear that we can do this to make a better community. So I thank you, ladies, and I thank my brother Craig Grant, who's also part of the street team in rebuilding the village.
Thank you guys so much, and thank you for all the work that you do in the community. And I also know you do a lot of work with race issues in the community. We'll talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation. But thank you guys for being on the ground and being on the front lines in our community. We so need our strong Black men. Hold on, I think Roosevelt's gonna try one more time to get in. Let's see if you can let him in. Can you hear us, Roosevelt?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow, we got you, Roosevelt. Wow. We've been bringing your name up.
Yeah,
we didn't forget you.
I came home and I'm using Teresa's phone. I had to send her the link, but I'm using her phone. I don't know what the deal is with my phone. I'll check on it later.
But we were actually just summarizing some things up, and we know that this is your baby. And is there anything specific that you want to tell the people about the event on July 25th?
Basically, my goal is to get Utica back united. Like I was explaining to Patrick, I remember back in the days when we was just so united, you know, all the gun violence, it wasn't none of that. Just the unity, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm fighting for, the unity. As you know, I'm part of a group called the Street Team. And with all the gun violence here in the city of Utica, something that the people come to me and say, well, what y'all doing about it? What y'all doing about it? You know what I'm saying? And I express to them, we have to come together as one to fight this thing. That's the cure. Unity is the cure. And that's what I'm trying to do. Bring unity to our community so we can stop this gun violence. That's basically.
I agree. And there was another important thing that you mentioned that, you know, I know that, you know, Wesley Jackson has just been appointed to the Utica Police Department, but you said that this event specifically you kind of didn't want police interaction. Can you explain like why?
Well, like I said, I'm a part of a group called the Street Team. I wanted to teach people that we can police ourselves. You know, with Wesley coming on the force, that's great. That's awesome. As I don't know if Patrick explained to you guys that we even looking forward to saluting him and several other of our African American police officers as well. But like I said, it's important to me that the community start policing ourselves, and you know, we cut back on the police brutality. We cut back on you know, the grievance between community and police officers and so forth like that. Technically, to be honest with you, it's until the police could learn, you know, to protect and serve, and not just protect New Hartford, but protect Cornhill as well.
Right. And Cream, you had something to say? No, Tiffany has something to comment.
I did. I wanted to share, and this could be more towards the closing, but I guess we're closing up. One day when Patrick and I were talking, and so he mentioned vision, and so while we were talking, I had this vision and that came to my mind. The vision was this. So we're talking about our families and how our families make up the community. Each of our families is like a piece of fabric, right? It's a piece of fabric, and each one is important. Each one governs and has their own sphere of influence. But bringing all of the fabrics together, woven together with love, woven together with respect, it becomes a covering. And so it's going to take all of us coming together, woven together, to be the covering for our community. And that cover, and the way to sew us together, I would say, is sew it together is through love and respect, like we mentioned earlier. To get back to those basics, those fundamentals. When we see something going on with you know, a young child, or even a young mother, you know, that we're able to, with love and respect, have that dialogue and to encourage and empower one another. We know the things that are going on in our community. I think I don't know why we come to a blind eye or have a blind eye to it. Not all of us, but a lot of us. I could even raise my hand as well. But if we all just take ownership and be the covering for our community.
That's awesome. That's an awesome analogy, Tiffany. Cream, thank you so much for that. Are there any final thoughts? July 25th, Kimball Park, 12 to 6, free food from 12 to 3. Bring your mask. However, there will be masks and hand sanitizer available. We will do the memorial of the lost loved ones. Submit your information to Roosevelt Patterson. Am I missing anything?
I think you're capturing it all. I just want to say something too. You know, when we know that there are many good police officers, but this community, like other communities, sometimes we've had problems. So Roosevelt's point is that, you know, we have to learn as a people to do better, and we can be better. We have to show ourselves that our conduct and our character can be A1, top notch. We don't have to be perfect, but one thing, the ground rule we have to say is fighting violence, gun violence will not be acceptable. And hopefully this event that was started by Roosevelt Patterson, hopefully we'll be able to do it every year, but it's going to be also going to take other elements. So Tiffany, I love the idea of the quilt. That's what rebuilding the village is about. It's about people in the community rising up and taking a responsibility and to say, yeah, we might have some differences, but we're going to work it out. It used to be a song years ago. My brother Craig knows, brother's going to work it out. And I'm saying we as a people, we're going to work it out. We just have to have that mindset to do it.
Yes, I agree. thank you guys so much, and I wish you much success on this event. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend, but I will be there in spirit, and I also will be sending a donation to Lilia Woods for the event, or I'll give it to Tiffany. I'll do some kind of donation. Thank you guys for using our platform, Coffee and Cream. I am Alberta. I am Coffee.
And I'm Davis. I'm Cream.
And together we are Queens of Conversations. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, International Queens. Thank you.
Okay.